Hi, my name is Leanne Hadley, and we have begun a new study in Pieta. Pieta is a spiritual movement of love and compassion for ourselves, for others, for the earth, and all God's creatures. We're beginning this new study. It's called Trust in the Light, and it's 40 stories, 46 stories actually. It's for every day of Lent. It started last Wednesday, and it's 46 stories of people that shine their light in the world. And also did that after they came through darkness. So we're trusting in God's light. Life goes life, death, resurrection. Resurrection is the greatest light ever given to us. And if you're not Christian and you're part of this study, that's okay too, because you know that light shines in the darkness. Almost every major religion has some form of the light shines in the darkness and the darkness does not overcome it. So join us for this study of light. I'm excited to have you here. Tonight, what we're going to do is look at, so you have a book that's available to you. And whether you have that book or not, I'm just going to review for you some people who did a difference, made a difference in the world. The first was Susan B. Anthony, who showed incredible resilience by trusting the light within herself, even when most people thought women should not have a voice. She was laughed at, she was criticized, and her journey was long and difficult, but she kept speaking, writing, and organizing for change. And even when she was arrested for demanding women's rights, she did not give up. Her courage and determination helped pave the way for women to vote. And so she's a very important woman. She paved the way for many to vote, not only to vote, but to fight for fairness. And her life shows that trusting your inner light, staying brave, and neither giving up can help change the world. So that's Susan B. Anthony. So take a moment and think about Susan B. Anthony and what inspires you about her story. So take a moment and do that. You might jot down a few words about it. And then we're going to look at Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou was, as a young girl, she was abused by her mother's boyfriend, and her family members most likely killed him. And she thought that it was her fault. And so she stopped speaking. She absolutely stopped speaking for years. And she chose silence because she thought that words were dangerous. And then slowly, with the help of a caring teacher and the comfort she found in reading books, she began to heal, and then she began to write. And she wrote about racism, about truth, about identity, and about struggle and hope. And she showed people that they were not alone. Her writing resonated with so many people. So her voice, once silent, became powerful enough to inspire the world. Through her books, poems, and speeches, Maya Angelou turned darkness into wisdom. Her resilience made her writing a beacon of light that continues to guide and uplift people today. So Maya Angelou, who was felt so guilty that she quit speaking and was healed through writing. Take a moment and think about her life. The next person is Joan of Arc. She is a saint in the Catholic Church, but she's also recognized in history books, so she's not a made-up character. She's real. And in 1412, she believed that God was guiding her. And during the 100-Year Wars with France, when France was struggling to survive, as a teenager, she believed that she was called by God to help save her country. And so she stepped into danger by leading the French soldiers, and she brought new hope to France. But soon, she faced a deep darkness because she was captured by enemy forces. She was actually betrayed, put on trial, and her enemies accused her of witchcraft, because she claimed to hear heavenly voices, because she wore an armor and men's clothing while leading troops, and she succeeded in ways that her opponents could not explain or accept. And instead of seeing her courage, they made her out to be a weirdo and dangerous. And so even in prison, she stayed true, and she was put on trial, and you can read her trial. It's really amazing. She did such a beautiful job of defending herself that, but she was convicted at age 19, and she was executed. She was burnt at the stake. And yet in her death, her light returned. She was declared innocent in 1956 and recognized as a saint. And her resilience continues to inspire people today who face darkness with bravery and courage, and particularly people who find themselves feeling a little different than other people in the world. So that's Saint Joan of Arc. What inspires you about her? Write down a couple of words. The next saint is Saint Teresa of Avila. She began her life in Spain in 1515, and she loved God deeply. She entered a Carmelite convent, and she faced a long period of darkness, probably depression. She became sick with a very serious illness. She had weakness, and it paralyzed her for a time. She was very, very sick, and people thought that she wouldn't survive. But during this period, she also struggled with doubts about her spiritual life and felt torn between wanting to please others and wanting to follow a deeper call to prayer. When she recovered, she began to reform her order and to trust her inner light. So she's one that really trusted her inner light. She wrote all these things down, and she is one of the first doctors of the church, certainly one of the first women doctors of the church. She's very highly thought of in a very patriarchal world. And she's a very respected spiritual teacher. Her most famous book is The Interior Castle, which is, if you take a spiritual direction class or any kind of spirituality class, you're going to read her book. So that is Saint Teresa of Avila, who trusted her inner light. And the last person for today is Mary, the mother of Jesus. And there's many stories where she trusted the light. There's the birth of Jesus where she trusts the light. And then there is his death where she trusted in the light. And even in her brokenness, she was able to stand by the cross because she trusted in the light. And we see Mary's life, lots of darkness and lots of light, but she carried a very huge burden of darkness. The story that we're going to read today, though, or that we're going to talk about, is that she stayed, when Jesus stayed behind in the temple. Remember, he got lost in Jerusalem, and she just doesn't know where he's at. And she quietly and steadily, with uncertainty, searches for her child. And then when she finds him, he says, "Didn't you know I would be in my Father's house?" And she did not even pretend to understand. She's like, "What are you talking about?" Instead, she received that moment with humility and quietness and gently. And, she treasured things in her heart. And so gathering the confusion, the mystery, and the light that was slowly unfolding, Mary's resilience, it wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was slow, it was steady. It was from being silent and looking around and trusting and watching it grow. I love the last sentence in here. It said, Mary's resilience was not loud or dramatic. It was the courage to keep trusting, keep searching, and keep holding space for God's work, even when the path was dim. In Mary, we see a faith that waits for the light to grow. It's beautiful. So what I want you to do now is to take a few moments and to think about all these stories, and then to choose one person who will sort of be your guiding light for the week. So which of these people helps you the most in saying, I resonate with that person, and I experienced darkness like that, or I understand her quest for justice or whatever. I resonate with that person. And let that person kind of be a guiding light for you this week as you trust in the light, whatever you're going through, that you think, okay, this person trusted in the light, I can trust in the light. When we're going through dark times, there's kind of three things that will help us. One is to have a community of people that you love and you trust and you can talk and journey through the light with. You can't do it alone. It's really difficult. The second thing is to read stories and of people who were resilient, to recognize that resiliency isn't anything that just happens to a couple of people. It's the way we're created. We are made to go through the darkness and to find light again. That's how God made us. So to read stories of resilience. And then the third thing is to look back at your life and to say, I'm resilient. I've had difficulties and I've come through them, and I'm in a difficult moment now and I'm going to come through it. So we're going to spend this Lent learning about all these people, hearing their stories and finding where their stories resonate with our stories. And then right after Lent, we're going to spend several weeks writing our own stories and telling our own stories of resiliency and how we went through the dark and how we came out the other side. I hope that these 3 tools will help us for whatever we face in life, whenever the darkness comes, whatever it is, so that we can trust in the light. And even when we're in the dark, we can't feel the light, we can't see the light, we're doubting the light. Deep down we can say, I will trust in the light because I know so many people have trusted in the light. The light is always there. I have a loving community that will be with me in the darkness until the light returns. And I have past experiences where I have been really resilient. I can do this again. So I hope that this will be a toolkit that will get us through the days and the years to come. Thank you for being here and for trusting in the light. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.